So, for instance, here you can see there's two sets of variables. Now you have to think about everything we solved up to this point, you know, something like 4n equals 16, or even 2/3 x equals 6. All of them always had one variable. So your goal is always to kind of get it back to something you know how to solve. If I know how to solve when there's one variable in the equation, and I am given an equation with two variables, figure out a way to make those two variables become one. And then it's going to be an equation you know how to solve. So it's about kind of thinking ahead, like, well, I know how to solve when there's one variable. How can I get this to have one variable? Because then I'll know how to solve it. So that's the idea. So you're going to be looking today just for anything that can be combined on the same side. Combined means, well, you know, joined together. So can you take a guess at what do you think 8n plus 8n equals? 16n. And now it's an equation that you know how to solve. Like you've done this before many times. Okay? I'm not going to have you solve these right now, just trying to get the routine going here. Same thing right below. You can see that on the right hand side we have a negative 4x and a negative 2x. So what does that equal? Negative 4x and negative 2x. Okay. Well, it's the same thing as negative 4 and negative 2, which is just negative 6. And everything else just stays the same. See, this is an equation we've been solving for a couple days now. We know how to solve this once it gets down to one variable. So anytime you have two variables, you want to combine them into one. Now, notice that I'm not adding 2 to both sides. I'm not adding 2x. I'm not adding 4x. I'm just doing negative 4 minus 2. I'm just doing because they're on the same side. So I'm not adding or subtracting anything to both sides right now. That comes after. All right, just keep on going down. All right. I'm going to underline what we're combining. What would this equal? What is 3m minus m? Now keep in mind this is a 1. So 3m minus 1m would be, yeah, 2m. And they're on the same side. Oops. I'm not subtracting 3m. I'm not adding 1m. I'm just doing negative 1 plus 3, or 3 minus 1. All right. So just continue on. Let's simplify all of these. What would this equal? 11x. Right? So we got 11 times what equals 11. All right? We know the answer is 1, but we're not solving them right now. We're just practicing this new step. What about here? Negative 1 minus 4. Negative 5. And so negative 5 times what is equal to 15? Yeah, close. And what about the last one? What would this simplify to? Yeah, what does this equal here? Negative 11x. So we're just combining anything that's on the same side together. Now there could be two numbers that are the same also. If there's like a plus 5 and a plus 3, you can always just make those plus 8 if they're on the same side. Alright, go down the right hand column now and go ahead and simplify those while we walk around and check. Just go ahead and simplify 2 through 12. No. 2 through 12? Yeah, 2 through 12 even. Go ahead and simplify those just to see if you got the hang of this. Let's take a look at a few of these. What was 4k plus 3k? 7k. And just bring down the rest of the stuff, right? What is negative 2 and negative 8? Negative 10x. Now this one was, the last one was a little more thinking because they're separated, so that's why it helps underline. That's a 1. So what is 1 minus 3?
2.
Negative 2. I saw people that had a lot of 4Ks. So we got to do 1, and this is a minus 3. So fix that if you put 4. And plus 4 equals 0. Okay, now that we got the hang of this first step, the rest of this is going to be get to this point and then go ahead and solve like we have been. So we've been solving a lot of equations. What would we do to solve this equation? What we're going to add, subtract first? Yeah, we're going to subtract 4 on both sides, right? See it cancel out. 0 minus 4 is negative 4. Bring down negative 2k, and then divide both sides by negative 2. So you can see this is a 3-step equation. We had to combine the k and negative 3k, then subtract on both sides, and then divide on both sides. What is negative 4 divided by negative 2? Is what? Positive 2 equals k. And normally you would want to write that right below it, but I'm out of room. So that's what's going to be the rest of your work, is going to be not only do that first new step, but do the same 2 steps. Remember, there's 2 steps, subtraction on both sides, multiply, divide on both sides, afterwards. So we got 3 steps total now. And you can picture that, oh, where's this going? We're going to have a 4th step, a 5th step. But once we get really used to how to do this, you're going to really know 3 steps, so learning 1 more is going to be not so bad. But we got to do them one by one. Okay. Sometimes they'll break down. They won't be all 3 steps. Like if you look at number 13, you can see there's a 1 and a minus 1 on the same side. What's 1 minus 1? 0. So they just cancel out. That equals 0. You don't have to write plus 0 or anything. You just cancels out and it goes away. So this isn't going to be a 2-step equation. This is just asking 3 times what number is 15. And you get 5 by dividing both sides by 5. This is 3 times, so we have to divide both sides, right? And then you get 5. Now, if anything else, if this is easy, note my format. Note how I'm pretty much lining up my equal signs. The variables line up very neatly. If I want to follow my work, where did 5 come from? Oh, it's 15 divided by 3 right above it. Very easy to follow. So you can always work on that just so it's clear and easy to understand. What about here? So what's the first step? What would this equal in the first step? Okay, let's combine those together. What number is this, by the way? Yeah, this is negative 3, right? Don't forget it's a negative 3, not 3. So what is 1 minus 3? Negative 2. P. Bring down everything else. Minus 2 equals 4. So the first step is just to combine like terms. That's what that's called. When you combine the variables, 2 variables, combine them into 1. It's called combining terms. Okay, what to do next? Now let's solve this. We're solving it all the way. That's why there's room here. So should I add 2, subtract 2, divide by 2, multiply by 2? Add 2 to both sides, because this is the side of the variable. This is a negative 2 here. So it's the same thing you've been doing. Add 2 on both sides. Okay. What we didn't use, bring it straight down. That's the leftover. And then bring down the equal sign. Simplify 4 plus 2. Get 6. All right, what's next? Divide by? Yeah, this is multiplying by negative 2, so I'm going to divide by negative 2. Equals 1. All right, those cancel out. What's 6 divided by negative 2? And this is pretty much exactly how your work should look. So we had 3 steps here. We had the dividing by negative 2, we had the adding of 2 to both sides, and now new, we have the combining of like terms. 1 minus 3 gave us negative 2. If I wanted to check your work, I should be able to look at the numbers and follow it straight up. Where did negative 3 come from? Right above it, 6 divided by negative 2. Where did 6 come from? Right above it. It was from 4 plus 2. Very easy to follow how I got whatever I wrote down. It's not like I'm just kind of making it up or kind of skipping a step and I know it's going to be, so. Alright, so let's do a few more. Okay, negative 4 minus 5. What is that? Negative 9. So this is asking negative 9 times what equals 0? Negative 9 times what is 0? 0. So you know the answer is going to be 0. It's not about do you know the answer, but proving your answer. So this is multiplication by negative 9. So I'm going to divide by negative 9. Divide by negative 9. So I'm canceling out the 9s. The only thing left over on the left side is b equals. All right, b equals. That's what's left over. On the right-hand side, I have 0 divided by negative 9, which equals 0. Okay? So showing the work is more important than just knowing the answer. Of course, the thing that's coming after we get used to all this stuff, what if these were all decimals or fractions? The algebra would be the same. You'd still be dividing by whatever number's here. But you wouldn't be able to do it in your head anymore. And you'd have to write all the work down in order to get the right answer. So that's what we're working towards. Let's keep going to the back. So what's the first step here? So combine like terms. Anytime you see two variables, combine them together. 2 minus 5 is? Don't say 3. What's 2 minus 5? Negative 3. Yeah, 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. Very important. Alright, negative 3 times what equals negative 24? Since this is multiplication, let's divide by negative 3. And a negative divided by a negative? Positive 8. So very easy to follow if I go straight up. Where did 8 come from? 24 over 3. How come it's positive? Negative divided by negative. Very easy to follow. Alright. Just going to finish up a few of these on the left column and have you guys do the right column. So what do we got there? 13. B. What's next? Tell me what to write. Yeah, bring down the equals 0. And then? Very good. Divide by 13. 0 divided by 13 is 0. Okay. So make sure you have all that written down. And when you come tomorrow, just take out this worksheet and we'll start working on it right away. Okay? Have a good one.